Lovelies, it's Heather here. Gonna go ahead and shoot a video today. I tried to shoot one earlier, but it didn't take because I hadn't been able to clear out my memory at that point in time, and I hadn't realized it. But or I forgot. But anyways, yeah, I've just had like a lot of stuff going on, like for as far as like people talking to me and everything, and like it kind of draining me, but then it kind of also, in the process of draining me, kind of making me, I guess you'd say, like, grow a little bit, and, like, it's helping me kind of keep my, socialization skills up pretty high and everything, because, I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to go back to work. Eventually I'm going to work. Just don't know when. Got a bunch of shit to figure out before. Sorry, my nose is itching, and my other hand's petting Tiger. But, so, and he's drooled all over my hand, but, and the wind's not being favorable right now. Keeps blowing all my little baby hairs into my face, but, anyways, it's like, I realize how much of, my videos is just me complaining about stuff usually, but it's also me talking about my ideas, my beliefs, my views, and stuff like that. But it's like I don't have anybody that cares to listen to me bitch on a daily, and I know that sounds really fucking bad, but when I've came from a family that's all that people do. Like, literally, that's all that people do every day. They're complaining about something, and they never know how to enjoy the silence of things, or they never know how to just not complain. And that's what was starting to happen between me and my daughter when she was home, was a lot of complaining was going on. And it got to the point where I guess our complaints that we had about other people, we didn't take our anger out on each other, but it was just, let me complain to you about my day and about the people I had to deal with, and and then she complained to me about her day and the people that she had to deal with. And I was trying to teach her, to cope. Fucking hell. But, I was trying to teach her to cope the same way, like of just letting a day pass without complaining, and then seeing, if she let a day pass without complaining, and trying to stay positive, if the day, went smoother, and if tomorrow was okay still. Like, you don't have to complain for tomorrow to be better, And I tried to teach her that, and she just wasn't understanding that. And plus, again, her hitting her teen years, if you will, or preteen years, and my family just being, they loved the complaining. So every time she went over to their house, it's like, hey, tell me everything that's wrong. And she's like, I have a list, And so they're grooming her to complain 24/7, and it just was causing a lot of problems, between me and her. And then I was trying to cut them out, if you will. Damn it, Tiger. I was trying to cut them out of her life, not completely, but quite often, so that way she wasn't learning that habit. But then, she goes to school, and it's the years of the complaining, the constant complaining that everybody does during those years, to a degree. And then it's like, I felt like the guy that, like, nobody understands, because I would get home from work, and I would just want to sit for, like, an hour, I just wanted an hour of peace, Or I would just want to cook in peace, because usually it was me cooking supper. And here she comes out the gates, like, hey, let me tell you, and I'm like, can you wait until we're sitting and eating supper? Can you wait until, And she'd get so mad, and so then she'd, like, get mad at me, and then she'd be like, like, she'd be like, "You always do this." And I'm like, "No, honey, I don't." And I'm like, "You just don't understand. You just don't realize it because you're so anxious to tell me." And I'm like, "Did something really awful or really bad happen?" And she'd be like, "No." She'd be like, "But this happened. So and so told me so and this and that and da 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 da. And then, so and so did this and she'd try to start, and I'd be like, "Okay, well, can it wait until we're sitting and eating, or can it wait until even after supper?" And she just couldn't respect, that I was trying to give her like a timeline, and that I just wanted some peace and quiet because, my job was a social job. You have to deal with people, and so hearing people talk 24/7 at you, to you, or however, or even just around you, your ears are kind of buzzing from the conversation. And heck, it don't even have to be a job, where you're around people and, they're constantly talking to you and at you and stuff like that. And then that's the thing too is where I worked, there's machines and there's things that, they make mechanical noises, whether it's beeping or, just loud, slams or this and that or whatever and stuff. And so audibly, it's like a lot to take in. And, I I don't know. My phone just vibrated, but nothing showed up yet. So I guess somebody wrote me. But so anyways, my video earlier today was about my grandmother because I woke up because there was people here that mowed the yard, and I couldn't go back to sleep while they were here. And I got woke up abruptly yesterday too, and so I finally was able to go back to sleep. But before that, I was going to sit and I was going to eat, and I went to go get me something to drink, and she done her normal thing of, "Why don't you fix this? Why don't you make this? Why don't you eat this?" Clarabelle, hey, she climb up that. But and it just frustrated me, and it frustrated me. And it's like, on one hand, it shouldn't have, on one hand, I should have just been able to ignore her. But that's the thing, is the amount of ignorance, the amount of, like, that I would have to use of energy, of mind to ignore, the amount of my family, like, literally makes me to where, like, I'm not talking to nobody. And it takes all my energy. And, like, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, oh my God, the only way that I can survive is to become completely and totally narcissistic and selfish and self-absorbed. And there's part of me that's like, well, if that's what I have to do, because I know me, I know my limits and stuff. And I'm like, well, if that's what I have to do to survive, there's a part of me that's like, I guess I have to, but I don't want to, because I was like that when I was like 15, like around the time that I got pregnant with my daughter. Like, I was just like, but then again, also, like, I was with her father and stuff, like, when I was 16 and stuff. And so, like, I remember that feeling of, I don't give a shit about nobody. Fuck everybody. Like, I had that year, if you will, and I actually had that even a little after I had Ava. But whenever my dad told me he was going to call the cops on me because I had Ava in timeout, it's like it broke something in my psyche. Like, it was just like, whoa, wait, what? You're saying that I'm wrong for having my daughter in timeout? And I had her in timeout in my lap because I had her in timeout in her timeout chair when he come in from work that day. And I could hear him coming up the steps, and he was mad. And so I knew to get Ava out of the kitchen, because that's where her timeout space was. And I took her to the den. And I just left her chair because I was in a hurry, like, to get her out of there, like, out of that room. Because the den, he didn't go in that much. The den was kind of like me and my sister's area and my daughter's area to be, other than my bedroom. But then it really wasn't my area to be. But it kind of was, like, if I wanted to be out and be social. But the kitchen and the living room and all that, everything was his, you know. And God, he reminded me all the time, you know, this is my house, you know. So when I heard his footsteps that day, I just grabbed Ava. I was like, oh shit, you know, and I grabbed Ava up out of the chair and I was like, okay, you're going to come and finish your time out in mommy's lap, you know. And she was screaming and crying and everything because she was sleepy and she couldn't process why she was sitting in my lap and, you know, like, why I kept making her sit down because she wanted to go and, like, get her book because she thought I was going to put her to sleep. She thought it was nap time, so she wanted to go get her book and wanted to go get her toy because that's what she would do every night. Is she would pick out one stuffed animal and she'd go and pick out one book for me to read, and, you know, or not every night because it was afternoon, but every time it was nap time or anything like that, she'd pick out one toy to cuddle up to and a book to read. And so she kept trying to get up so she could go grab a book, and she wasn't saying it because she was so upset and crying, and she was trying to process everything that was going on and then the anxiety and stuff. And I was like, just sit here for a minute, just sit here for a minute, you know. And she sat there for like 2 minutes, and my dad, like, I was sitting in the floor with her, like, behind the love seat. And I was like, just sit here for 2 more minutes. You're in timeout because of what you did, you know. And I'm like, you gotta learn to not do that. And I think what it was is she threw something at one of the cats. Like, and she'd been doing it for like a week and a half. Like, she would throw stuff at them, like, you know, little toys or whatever. And I'd kind of, you know, I couldn't help but snicker. But this day in particular, she threw like a heavy, hard plastic toy, you know, and it hurt the cat. And I was like, okay, that's it, you know. And I was like, you're in timeout. We don't throw things at animals. And so anyways, my dad come in and all that, and I grabbed Dave up, and about 2 minutes in or whatever, he come around the corner and he's like, if you don't shut that damn baby up, I'm gonna call the fucking cops on you. You're a fucking horrible piece of shit mom, blah, 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 you know, just laying into me and everything. And I tried to stay strong and stay there, and I tried to keep Ava, you know, for like, and I kept her for like another minute, you know. But I was like, you know what? I can't, you know. I was like, I can't. And I was like, Ava, let's just go to bed. And I just picked her up, you know. I didn't even let her get her book or anything. And, you know, I took her to the bedroom and everything. But once I got her in there and got her calmed down, I basically, you know, figured out what she was wanting. You know, I was like, what is it? And she's like, book, you know. And so I was like, you ain't going in there and picking out a book with Papa all the way he is. I was like, tell me what you want, you know, and I went in there and got it for her. But, like, that just, I don't know, it just, like, something in my head just, you know, snapped. Like, it made me scared because, I mean, you know, I'm 17 years old. You know, I've been told I'm a piece of shit because I had a kid young. You know, I'm told I'm a piece of shit every day by my dad. I was told I was a piece of shit before I had a kid young. I was told I was a piece of shit. I mean, you know, I'm just this horrible ass person, you know, and then I guess in all honesty what it was is I'm responsible for my kid, you know, and I don't want to go to jail because of what he says, you know, and them taking his word over my word, you know. And my mind at the time, oh my God, Clarabelle, that, oh, she just jumped in the water. But at the time, I'm just like, you know, no, I can't go to jail. I have to stay here for my daughter. If I don't, he'll fucking kill her or molest her. Like, that's what went through my head, you know. Or he'll beat the shit out of her, you know, or he'll do something wrong to her. And so it just, like, you know, snapped something in my psyche, you know, and I was like, shit, you know, and I was like, can't do this, you know, can't be, you know, this, and even though I said self-absorbed earlier, you know, I was, but my daughter was an extension of my, you know, self-absorbedness, you know, or whatever, I guess you'd say, like, I mean, she was my world, she was my life, you know, and she still is and everything, but now she's, you know, gotten older and has her own, you know, ways and stuff, and I've tried to respect them, but in that, she still can't respect mine, you know, and stuff. That dog's a mess. She thinks it's funny. But, anyways, so it's just a bunch of crap to go through. I don't know. Like, I could cry right now just thinking about the shit. And the thing is whenever he come in, he actually kicked her chair that was in the kitchen. He kicked it across the kitchen. And like I said, I knew he was mad just from the sound of his footsteps, and like, that's just ridiculous, like, it is. But anyway, so I got irritated with my grandmother because she's like, hey, why don't you make this to eat? And it just upset me so bad. I was like, I can't even eat now. And I actually used to do that. Like, I'd be like, I can't even eat now. And so I'd go many, many times without eating for a long-ass time, even though I was hungry, because I was mad, And I had this rule, like, in my head that I was like, okay, if I get up to fix food and they don't speak to me, then I can eat. But if they say one damn word to me, it doesn't even matter what it is. If they say, hey, to me, if they say, what you doing, if they say, what you fixing, if they say anything, put your shit in the fucking fridge, put it all back in the fridge, or put it in the microwave, and you're not eating right now because it upsets you, because it unnerves me, because I've always had to be Little Miss Fix-It, basically. Whatever their problem is, I gotta have a solution. But the thing is they have never, ever, ever respected any fucking solution that I have for them. Never. That's just like my grandmother. She'll ask me what to fix to eat, and I can tell her, but she'll end up fixing something else. I remember fixing fucking, like, lawnmowers or swimming pools or, just outdoor shit, basically, with my dad, or trying to rig it so it'd stay or, whatever. And he'd be like, well, why is this happening? Well, why is this going on? And he'd be out there, and like, also, it's just my kind of nature. Like, I'd be sitting there and sometimes he wouldn't even holler for me. But also, it's not I don't know if it's my nature as much as it's just the way that they programmed me. Like to be at their beck and call all the time. And so I could be sitting, doing anything outside, or I could even be in the house, in all honesty, watching cartoons, and they'd say something like, yeah, I'm going to go out here and fix this damn, my dad could or whatever. He'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go out here and do this. Yeah, I'm going to go out here and, and all this. And, or he would go out and he'd fix it, and I could resist the first time, but after he'd come back in, he'd be like, well, I can't figure it out, like, these are key words I'm having to pick up on, and I'm having to be like, oh shit, that's my cue, that's my cue for me to go out here and help or fix or whatever. So then I'd go out there with him and I'd be like, and like, sometimes it takes a different perspective, to see what the problem is. And so, I'd sit there, and he'd call me stupid because I'd overanalyze, in his opinion. He'd be working on it for like 10, 15 minutes, and I'd be out there and I'd just be walking around looking at it, I'd be looking at it and taking it all in, and he'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you just standing there? Well, hand me this, And I'm still, in the back of my mind, just like meticulously kind of calculating and drawing a picture in my head, of what this is and, how it's made and all kinds of shit. And even with him, yelling at me, hand me this, and and I'm handing them everything he fucking needs, but I'm just like, what is wrong with this? What could be wrong with this? Okay, what does science tell me? Okay, what does this tell me? Okay, what does that tell me? And like breaking it down like it's a mathematical equation in my head, basically. And after a while, I'd sit there and I'd be like, I think you need to do this. And he'd be like, huh? And half the time he couldn't even understand what I was saying, I'd be like, I think you need to do this. You need to tighten this. You need to put this there. You need to, and he'd be like, huh, what, and then he would just be like, no, I don't think that's what's wrong with it. He would always discredit it, no, I don't think that's what's wrong with it. And when I got older, I learned to like walk away, whenever he said that. I learned to respect myself enough to be like, I gave my opinion. You're not going to take it. fuck you, and I learned to walk away. But when I was younger, I would just kind of be like, yeah, I think that's what's wrong with it. And then he'd be like, no, still help me with this. And so I'd still help him with his half of the shit. And I'm just sitting there like, and, you know, rolling my eyes, you know, like, oh my God, I know this is the right answer, or I know that this is closer to the right answer, or worth a shot, or worth a try. It's just as good of a fucking opinion as his is. Why can't he listen to it? You know, why can't he listen to my opinion? You know, why can't he take me into account? Why is, you know, he neglecting my opinion when, you know, most of the time he asks for it? You know, and then even when he doesn't, he does in his own subtle way of coming in 15 damn times and being like, well, I don't know what's wrong with it, you know? Which is my cue for me to go out, because if I don't, then he's going to come in, he's going to slam the door, he's going to stomp his feet, he's going to, you know, cuss for an hour and a half at least, you know, and be really angry that he couldn't get it fixed or whatever, and then he's going to target that anger at somebody, and more than likely it's going to be targeted at me. And if I would have been younger, then he's going to beat my ass. It might be in a day or two. He might be able to hold it in for a day or two. And then all of a sudden, I'm just going to look at him the wrong way, which I still don't even know what that way is. It's just, you know, I looked at him, you know, and I've always talked to my friends and been like, yeah, I guess, you know, he knows I can see his demons. And even though I don't, like, literally see anything, it's like, yeah, you're acting like a overgrown asshole, you know? And so I could just look at him in the next 2 days, and when I was a kid, and that's all it took. Next thing I know, I'm getting yanked up by my fucking arm, and his belt's coming off, and he's beating the shit out of me. You know, and I didn't even fucking do anything, except for walk in, you know, and acknowledge his existence as a human being. When instead, he wanted me to ignore him, I guess. And I'm sorry you taught me to pay attention to you, because, you know, y'all are all fucking neglectful towards each other, and y'all just walk past each other all the time and ignore the shit out of each other. And, so it was just, God, it was just awful. It's just a bunch of shit. Now, there's times, though, that he'd cry. Not a lot, but most of the time he'd just beat my ass. You know, but sometimes I'd, like, look at him, you know, and I'd catch him when his guilt, you know, for his behavior had hit him, you know, and he'd kind of tear up. He wouldn't really cry, but he'd kind of tear up, and I'd be like, okay, leave Dad alone, he's upset. And I'd be like, he needs to grow. You know, he needs to grow. He needs to grow up. But, it was just, God, man. I didn't know I was going to end up talking about all this shit. But it was just a fucking lot to take in. But anyways, I don't know how many times, like, finally he would do, you know, fix the thing the way I said, or try it the way I said. And even if it wasn't the correct way, it led us to, you know, it led us to the victory, I guess you'd say, of fixing what the hell ever, you know, of patching the pool in the right spot, or finding out where the hell the leak's at, or fixing the damn tube that's leaking, or what the hell ever, or tightening the right screw, or finding out that a piece is missing, and then searching the goddamn yard for an hour and a half to find what fucking piece is missing and fix it. And, I mean, you know, trial and error, you know, but trial and error, you know, that's one thing that I learned greatly, you know, from my experience, but also at the same time, I never had the privilege to have it, to a degree. Every time I tried to have trial and error, you know, in my life, and that's how you fucking learn. That's how you fucking grow. That's how you fucking become, you know, what the fuck you're going to be and everything. My family just, like, constantly screaming, you know, constantly screaming and belittling and cutting down and everything. I mean, that's like, if you take a fucking puppy and the puppy starts to walk, you know, after a few days it starts to scoot its ass, and you pick it up and you're like, no, 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 you know, like, that's what my family's done to me my whole life, and that's even what they done to me now, and the stupid court system did not understand that, does not understand that, because they don't care, because it don't look good on paper. And here I was trying to wait and get money so I could just get my damn license, so I could get a fucking car. And my family's like, no, no, no. You know, and they're like, oh, you're really trying for this? Oh, we gotta find a way to stop you. What's the easy way to stop you? Okay, let's break your heart and take your daughter from you. That's all it was. Let's break your heart and take your daughter from you. And then, oh, and by the way, we've been your ride everywhere and you act like you don't know it, so we're going to make you remember it. And I know that they were my ride everywhere. And even though Jen, she helped, and she has helped and everything, she's, not going to help in the ways that I need. She even said to me, why don't I just leave my daughter? I mean, that right there kind of floored me. I was like, what? Do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? Why don't I just leave my kid? It made me kind of want to, be like, let me just take your kid away from you and just be like, hey, just leave your kid. You're not just going to leave your kid if you're a good parent. And Jen is a decent parent, she's a good parent or whatever. She's not just going to randomly, drop her kid off. And I guarantee you it doesn't matter how old her daughter is. She tries to make it like it's an age thing. And well, your daughter's that age, so, no. It doesn't matter if your daughter is 15. It doesn't matter if your daughter is 17 on her way to 18. If your daughter is not home, if your child is not home, it don't even have to be a daughter. It could be a damn son. It don't even have to be a damn kid. It can be a damn pet. I'm still worried about where the fuck my dog is at that went missing. Bonsai. I'm still worried about where he's at. It don't have to be even a fucking, living human being friggin' child, and I'm saying that because I'm angry because of Jen not processing that. I'm not happy that my kid's missing. I'm not happy, granted she's not missing, but I'm not happy that she's over there. And the whole thing that I've wanted is I've wanted somebody to be able to dedicate their time to helping me to get my kid back, and nobody's been able to do that. And then everybody wants to be like, but Heather, we love you, or Heather, I'm your friend. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because if I was in your shoes, because a kid being taken is a huge, massive thing in a parent's life. Huge, massive. I'd be there for my friend. And everybody's failed me, and now it's been over all this time, and now they have custody over. Where's everybody been? So the whole, just, now you got your license, and so take yourself, and here I am, I'm this nervous, anxious wreck of a person trying to baby myself through things. And that's even when I drive and when I have mishaps, and I'm like, oh shit, and I realize I've done something wrong, and I'm learning to be confident enough to be like, well, it's a mishap, and, what was it? The fucking steering wheel got locked up when we went to the damn graveyard. I went to the damn graveyard one day, and the steering wheel got locked up on us, and I was like, shit. And then it even got locked up here that day when Jen was like, hey, bring my car back home, and I panicked, but then, I didn't at the same time. I calmed myself afterwards, and I was like, it's okay, it's just a little mishap, it's just a little mishap, it'll be all right, calm down, life happens, you're still learning to drive, you're not a perfect driver, you never said you was, and, I keep reminding myself, and you haven't even been in a wreck, you haven't even come close to hitting people, even though you've had people honk at you to make you think, because they can't judge distance, that's what I keep, and also they're rude, they don't want to get off your ass, even if you're sitting there and you have your fucking blinker on, it's like, hey buddy, I'm letting you know for 5 minutes now, or for, even 35 seconds, or, well, I don't know if it's 35 seconds, but a minute and a half. I'm letting you know for a minute and a half, I gotta come over. I gotta get over in that lane. Respect the blinker, respect the blinker. I'm not just using it to be cool. I'm not just using it to be funny. And you shouldn't think that I accidentally cut my blinker on unless you see that my blinker's been on for 10 minutes. If it's been on for 10 minutes, then yeah, I probably don't realize that it's on. But I've never done that in a car. But I get that some people do because I've watched people do it and they don't even realize it. and, you know, they're going down the interstate with their, you know, right or left blinker on for 10, 15, 30 minutes, an hour and a half even, 3 hours. I mean, I've seen it all, you know. But it's like, respect the blinker. It's there for a reason. It's there to tell you to, you know, ease off, to give space, you know. You don't have to sit there and be aggressive and be like, no, I have to stay right behind this car that I've always stayed behind. Now, I understand if you got like a bunch of people coming over, you know, and it's like every other, you know, and you're like trading, you know, and like you're merging into a lane basically and stuff. But if it's just one fucking car trying to come over, like, let them over. Hell, I do. Hell, I see somebody come up, just barely even come up next to me, and I see them cut on their damn blinker, and they're wanting to come over in my lane. I take my foot off the gas. I let that thing coast on back, you know, I let it ease on back. I let that car just ease on up. You know, I let my speed drop. I watch behind me and make sure nobody, you know, make sure the person behind me, you know, sees that my speed is decreasing, you know, and I just sit there. And there's been times that, you know, like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, come on. You know, and I'll wave them on over, you know. I'm like, you can't judge distance, but damn it, there's 2 car lengths in front of me and that other vehicle. There is plenty of room for you to get over in this lane right now. You know, I've gave you plenty of room, I promise you. You know, I'm not going to smack you in the ass, you know, like, come on over. But other people, I don't know, it's this aggressiveness. No, this is my lane. No, I see your blinker, but I don't give a shit. Like, I don't fucking get that. I don't get it at all. Like, y'all some selfish ass people. Like, and that's the thing too, is to sit there and be like, oh, I didn't see it. How you not gonna see a ass end of a fucking car coming up in front of you and its damn blinker on? How the fuck you not gonna see that? Like, sorry, like, maybe I sound like I got a little bit of road rage, but how you not gonna see that? Like, you lying. Like, believe me, if you know, like, twice out, you know, my arm length and see something blinking on either side, you gonna see it within a minute. You know, you gonna see it within a minute. If you don't, then you doing something you shouldn't be doing. You got that damn phone up or something. I don't know what the fuck you doing, but you ain't paying attention. But I don't know. Like, this has been a long ass video, and I'm gonna end it here. And I've got a messy dog to take care of and stuff. I'll probably just leave her out on the porch. Oh, and a cat that's drooling on my leg. But I'm gonna end it here. I hope everybody's doing good. Keep putting your best foot forward. Take care. Got any comments, drop them down below. If you like this video, you can hit that thumbs up. You hate it, you can hit that thumbs down. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you can do so. And other than that, I'm going to let you go. Hope you're doing good. Keep putting your best foot forward. I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye.